and he thought, I am a seed. He suddenly saw how fertile was the ground into which he had fallen, and with this realization, the terrible purpose filled him, creeping through the empty places within, threatening to choke him with grief. Dune, page 199. Welcome back to Dune Saga, everyone. This is Season 3 of our Dune campaign here on the Stolen Fires channel. I am Eric, at my own Recluse Online, your game master for this epic multi-arc adventure series, which continues tonight with our 5th storyline, Leviathan. As a content warning, this program features adult situations and language and may not be suitable for all ages, so listener discretion is advised. A very warm welcome and salutation to new and old viewers alike to the Stolen Fires channel here on Twitch, where there's always a Let's Play or an RPG live play to look forward to. Special music shoutouts today go to Pixabay and Fraction, aka Kevin MacLeod, for Midnight Tale, Repulsive Sound, The Whole Other, Tabletop Audio, and Blear Moon for the use of their excellent music. You can find more awesome sounds and tunes over at inaudio.org, secretpress.bandcamp.com, music.youtube.com, pixabay.com/music, and SoundCloud. Many thanks to Modifius Entertainment for making awesome games for us to play. We also want to thank Roll20 for the excellent use of their virtual tabletop platform, perfect for hosting our game. And as always, we want a big thanks to our viewers and fans for tuning in. Our house entourage is here and ready to engage in the deadliest of intrigues. Agents of the Imperium, remind our audience who you are, where they can find you online, and who you will be playing this evening. Beginning with Leo.
You are muted.
That was the best intro I've ever had, too. God. Anyways, hello, my name is Leo. You can find me at Leo of the Black on Twitch, playing video games and such. Today I'll be playing Archibald.
Devin.
Hello, one and all. You can find me online at Sort of Sullied, and I am Devin. And tonight I will be playing Reverend Mother Norma.
Aaron.
Hello everyone, I am Aaron. You can find me at Great Cthulhu pretty much everywhere. My pronouns are anything but he, him. Tonight I'll be playing Eloise Cheshire, former guild woman, now member of House Cheshire again.
Key.
Hello, I am Kisama. You can find me on Twitter at TrueKisama, and tonight I am Pardot Reed, the Mentat.
Ambrose.
Hey everybody, I am Ambrose. My pronouns are he or they. You can find me all over the internet as AmChangeling and on Etsy at Thornkind. And you can find me right here, right now, on Dune, playing Zoshir Tamir, having commandeered Patty's computer room. I get to play with his Legos now.
Awesome. And last but not least, of course, Rachel.
Hello, I'm Rachel. I'm Stolen Fires pretty much everywhere on the internet, and tonight I will be playing Lady Daphne Cheshire, head of this house of miscreants and wanderers and
Misfits.
strays and...
Excellent. And now for a very short recap for the previous session, if you would do the honors, Ambrose.
Gladly. The sun rises on Arrakis, as does Pardot Reed. A security officer reports the day's crime, and one incident draws the Mentat's attention. As Key goes invisible, very appropriate. An explosion in the lower quarters killed 6, with another person found shot. Something intrigues Pardot, and he travels to a ship graveyard, where he recognizes the shooting victim. He's the mercenary who gave them a hard time at the spaceport. He sends the bodies to Sloane, trying to figure out what he missed. Previous to this, Daphne had a bit of an awkward night, as her friend and guest clearly preferred sleeping on the floor. Stilgar asks about Daphne's social role. She explains she's unmarried and rules in her own name. When Stilgar mentions his own wife, Daphne's face shows brief The morning is awkward in new and exciting ways. Stilgar wanders through the palace, servants scurrying to and fro, trying to figure out what to make of him before Daphne confirms he's a guest and should be taken care of. Housekeeper Mapes intervenes, speaking to him in their language. Before leaving, Mapes lets Daphne know someone waits for her in the conservatory. Daphne finds him in a corner. He's effusive with his praise, speaking at length, perhaps due to not quite being used to spiced coffee yet. He is Varys of House Chol, and he's grateful for Daphne saving Nuri Randama. Daphne evaluates him as he speaks at length about his affinity for green and growing things. He's the heir of a minor house, retainer of a large one, and above all seems reluctant to kill the great white worm. They agree to meet in private later. Elsewhere on Arrakis, Eloise receives a summons from Hina, and she and Amira travel to the embassy at speed. Hina is clearly upset and demands a full report from Eloise. Is this about the Harkonnen Mentat? Yes, but so much more. Now the Harkonnen are aware of the spice bribe. Hina has little choice but to relieve Eloise of any guild status. Now effectively stranded on Arrakis, Eloise makes the only call she can. Daphne. They'll meet at the family shrine. En route, Eloise encounters Archibald. Yeva is snarky, as always, and Amira pilots Eloise to Daphne's rooms. Meanwhile, Archibald notices servants trying to teach a cloaked man how to use cutlery, and sits. I speak words. Norma, finishing breakfast, sees Eloise cross her eyeline and decides to follow. Count Fenring has just met privately with Massum, so she's at liberty until her report reaches Lady Margot. Daphne comments how popular her quarters now seem, but stops as Eloise clearly is at the end of her rope. A former guild member gives Daphne a portrait for the shrine of Eloise, Adelaide, Beatrice, and Federico. But then Eloise demands to know what Archibald is doing here. Daphne has only one answer. It wasn't him. She explains the sordid history between Ofcardis and Cheshire and how Archibald was framed. Eloise decides to give Daphne a crystal, cutting it out of her own flesh. When Daphne summons some painkiller, Norma delivers it. Eloise asks, using the eye language, if Norma can be trusted, and Norma answers back that she can. Daphne explains the relationship between Norma and Adelaide, which pleases Amira. The crystal is from Adelaide when she first assumed control of the house. The schism between her and Eloise was manufactured, cover for Eloise to enter the guild and work to protect the house from there. All I ever wanted to do was protect my family, and you can't keep them too close or you risk harming them, says the hologram of Adelaide. Perhaps Eloise will succeed if I fail. Eloise and Daphne collapse into hugs and ugly sobs at what this means to each of them. Meanwhile, on the shield wall, Zoshir breaks bread with Duncan Idaho, who tells stories of his time with Stilgar and House Atreides. He speaks of an observation tower, a leftover from the time of Pardot Kynes. When he investigated, he found a treasure of unrefined spice, the result of long years of Harkonnen skimming profits. They can't get away with this, and Duncan, with Stilgar, organized a raid, a razzia. then the son of Naive was captured, and Stilgar tried to save him. Stilgar hasn't been seen since his message, but regardless, the razzia must continue. And they'll need strong warriors to replace the missing men. Is Zoshir interested? Before Zoshir can accept, another man objects. But a woman speaks in his favor, introducing herself as Chani. Her influence sways the rest, and Duncan lays out the plan. It'll take days to make the ascent on foot. Ornithopters might help, but the Harkonnen have the advantage to see them. Zoshir's team is reluctant to participate, but appreciative of Duncan, Idaho. Later, Zoshir seeks out Chani. Why did she speak up for him? Stilgar, she answers, recently attended a council of Naives. The Fremen are not united, driven apart by Harkonnen. But though Stilgar vouched for the coming Atreides, not even Liet, daughter of the revered Pardot kinds, could achieve unity. Duncan's razzia is an attempt to cultivate more support. Chani knows who Zoshir is, how he retrieved the spice bribe with honor. Of course she believes in him. The next day, Zoshir returns to the palace just in time to see Stilgar trying to eat his breakfast in peace. Archibald shoos the fawning servants away and introduces himself to Stilgar. The Fremen responds by spitting next to Archibald's plate. This shocks Yeva, but Archibald understands the gesture as one of respect and returns it. Yeva's in her own private hell and demands a mentat when Archibald and Stilgar seem speaking past each other. Pardot speaks briefly with the table before... Brain just pictured Pardot speaking with the actual table. Did that happen? What might have happened? Pardot speaks briefly with the table before Zoshir arrives, and the two Fremen have a respectful exchange. It's time for a family meeting. Daphne rescues Massum and Belanda from Tia, then asks the Bene Gessert to distract Yeva for a bit. The whole household, plus Dr. Sloan, attends. The first order of business is allowing Eloise and Archibald to speak. Eloise apologizes, and Archibald accepts. The house's true enemy is of Cardis, as it always has been. Now, Eloise shares her visions. Massum has been having the same ones, and comments that he has prescience from both his lines. This prompts Daphne to explain some part of Massum's heritage. The boy is visibly shaken, as he's been having the same visions. The Stoneburner. Daphne then reveals what she knows of the Harkonnen plan to kill the Great Old One, and says Kyra should be informed. Salgalat, she thinks, might be willing to use a Stoneburner. Eloise says what she knows of the Harkonnen atomics being moved around. And while it might be illegal to use them against people, it's not illegal to use them in a worm hunt. Zoshir unhoods to reveal what he knows, but Daphne turns hostile when recognizing her captor. Zoshir offers a water debt, which Daphne happily claims as her other relatives calm her down. The only reason she'll forgive him is because his actions benefited her, though she does not say why. Only that House Cheshire supports the Sayadina Kyra. And, in retrospect, Zoshir must be quite good at what he does to have infiltrated so well. Or plot armor. The next item of business is the hijacked heighliner, and Archibald's plan to liberate and arm the residents of Tupile. Well, says Eloise, Tupile isn't one planet, it's 7. When asked if he trusts Yeva, Archibald is reluctant to give a straight answer. Daphne says it's enough if she knows the house is busy fighting of Cardis remnants. When it's his turn, Pardot speaks of the 7 dead bodies, and that the 7th was shot with an instant killer, perhaps a botany poison? When Sloane brings up a hollow of the victim's face, Archibald recognizes Reese. Looks like he didn't get his money after all, he quips. Of course not, for Zoshir retrieved and returned it. Daphne suspects more of Cardis' involvement. She hands out various assignments, including for Eloise and Archibald to speak to the hijacked navigator, and for Zoshir to liaise with the house for what he needs in the Roslyn. They finish just in time for Daphne to learn her date is here. She has a dinner arranged in the conservatory, but is slightly surprised to see Nikolai instead of Varys, but rolls with it. He's clearly flirting with her in between discussing his belief that the worm stunt is just a plan for Raban to look good in front of his uncle. He expects failure, and will use the failure to blame a chosen element for the bad spice harvest. This can be avoided if we petition the Emperor for aid and ask for an Imperial Sardaukar to help. Daphne believes the Sardaukar would be less likely to use a stoneburner than Salgalat, so agrees. She carefully studies Nikolai, guessing that as a scion of a small but very political house, his ambition is to become Duke Cheshire. Too bad about the Samuda addiction then.
Excellent. Thank you for reading that, Ambrose, and thank you as always to Rachel for taking excellent notes during this session. All right, we can now continue with Leviathan. I suppose we'll begin with Norma at the Arakeen Palace in the early hours of the morning, following the last house meeting that took place. All right. What do you typically do in the morning, Norma?
I think that Norma would make some rounds, check on informational contacts she might have laying about, because, you know, as a sister, she's always gathering information.
Sure.
In her own way. So getting her morning itinerary, you could say.
Okay. It's like around the palace. Check on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And in these hours, most people are asleep. Only the servants are up in the servant wing. They're preparing things. They're, putting out the fresh linens and fresh forks and plates, readying everything for the perfect breakfast for the Regis Familia and the Count and his lady, as usual. They're one of the first. They're the main early birds in this place. So it doesn't surprise you when you see a mark in a familiar place. A mark that is intended specifically for you. You know of its origin. When you trace your fingers along the side of underneath the table on the upstairs near the balcony, you feel the coded Bene Gessert dots reveal a message. I have information for you, effective immediately. You're on reassignment. This is coming from Lady Fenring herself, who's usually on the other side of the palace around this hour. As you're making your rounds, you catch sight of her, and she purposely lets you see her as she's crossing the intersection of one of the hallways, heading towards the east end of the palace. I'm assuming you pursue this conversation.
Yes.
Okay. She meets you in a shadowed out niche along the side of the hallway. She kind of motions for you to come over, and you instinctively stand there, and you appear to any servants walking nearby to be talking about something very inane. But while your lips do the moving, the real talking takes place with your hands. And you speak in the language of Jacobsa. She communicates something to you that you were not expecting. She tells you that you're no longer needed at the palace, and that instead, in the coming days, you are actually going to be required to go to Caladan. Mohiam, you see, is coming here, to Arrakis. The boy must be tested. You know this. It has to be done. Your
What
response.
What is my mission on Caladan?
The other prospect, she says. Fingers motioning.
Ah,
The boy.
of course. The
It must be done as
grandchild.
well. Correct. And she's like, you can imagine Mother Superior did not want you to be the one to test the Emperor's heir, for you are too close. Similarly, she did not want Mohiam testing the Atreides boy because of the lineage. And any perceived biases there must be eliminated. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Then you are to make your way to Caladan in the coming days, as Mohiam is set to come here. She will likely make contact with you first before sending you off. The Count and I are moving to Caladan for the transition period. So we will likely not be here very often until it is time for us to become the Duke and Duchess Absentia on Caladan. Have a safe trip.
You as well in your future.
With that, she takes her leave. And you hear somewhere down the hallway someone else's awakening now. You hear the sound of bickering taking place. Very sharp, sharp
Archibald's
bickering.
up.
Precisely. Archibald and Yeva are bickering again in the morning. They're walking the halls after finishing their spiced coffee downstairs. Archibald, Yeva turns to you as you're going up the stairwell. You mean to tell me that after all that time you spent down there with these people, that they didn't once bring up Omelas?
No, they did not.
Why didn't you? Please don't tell me you trust that little weasel.
I don't, but I have my own ways of dealing with him.
Oh, and how are you dealing with it? Exactly.
Well, I'm going to turn on my Ixion probe.
When you get into your quarters, I would imagine. I imagine you're not trying to set this up in the middle of a hallway as like the servants are like trying to go around and like clean the rooms. Okay. So you make you make a motion like, we'll discuss this in private inside the quarters, and she kind of rolls her eyes like, okay, I can't wait to hear what your master plan is to deal with the mentat, little weasel mentat that belongs to this duchess. She opens the door with the palm lock, and you hear, as soon as you walk inside of the room, you hear the strumming of a balisette inside. Throng. And Yeva immediately looks to you with these wide eyes like, what the hell was that? And she immediately pulls her Mala pistol, and because she's always armed.
Yep.
And she goes around the corner and trains it at the corner of the room. Your actions?
Obviously I'm gonna look. Like I'm gonna use an observe roll. And I'm gonna see if there's anything that's out of I'm sorry, I'm coughing.
You're fine. Take your time.
Bring up the page. Darn it. There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna do a observe roll if I can find my sheet. Oh my lord. House Cheshire. Okay. I had it pulled out, but I'm gonna use the observe just to kind of see what's around it. If there's anything odd or anything.
Give me 2 successes on observation.
Okay. So
you're like looking around for like a mirror or something like that. Any reflection on the window to see what it is that she's looking at.
I'm going to use understand and use, because I have a focus for deductive reasoning. This fits pretty well.
Okay.
This is definitely a truth thing. We have worn. I won't send it. Yes. Focus.
Two successes right off the bat. Good job.
Yep.
So you kind of flatten your back against the wall, and you immediately look across the room, and there's a shiny little reflective what's the word I'm looking for? Glow globe. Polished steel. And in its reflection, you see something red and sort of distorted. But the more it moves, the moment the sensor goes off and the light comes on and starts moving towards you, the picture starts to become clearer. There's a man in red, and he's sitting in the corner holding a small little balisette in his hands. In his tiny, tiny little hands. Because you see, the man who's sitting in the corner is a dwarf, and he's been waiting for you. Who in the Vermilion Hells are you? You hear Yeva say. He responds, Yeva Schumann, military mind with a cold heart, tends to make one removed from all that is human. Archibald Cheshire, always plotting and planning, but never so sure of his own desire. I bring good tidings of our deal today, General. Having completed your special request, we now require our special pay. Whatever you have, whatever's available is nice. But here, Tleilaxu always take payments in spice. What is he talking about? Yeva says, looking over to you.
I'm gonna look over to Yeva.
Who in the hell are you? I'm Zajib. And you're here on the Tleilaxu? Get the hell out of this room. And he's like strums his balisette again. I'm afraid I cannot. There's but a thin line between many an enemy and many a friend. Where the line stops, there's no beginning and no end. Let's end it, my friends. How do you respond, Archibald?
You'll get your payment. I'll see to it.
He hums and he haws and he kind of strums his balisette very playfully. A wise choice, as many before you have made, but do not renege and do not delay, for those who have saw their legacy fade away. Get your little ass out of this room, or I swear I will grab your infantile frame and throw you out of this window.
I'd have to agree with Yeva right now. Get out of here now.
He just hums and smiles and says, Let bygones be bygones. Let bygones fall where they may. This has been a dirty day. And with that, he packs up his balisette, slips it over his shoulder, and waddles out of the room. The door shuts, and Yeva just looks at you incredulously. What have you gotten us into, Archibald? You're cutting deals with everyone these days, and you tell me nothing about them. The Tleilaxu? The exiles on Tupile? What have you promised them, I wonder? Do you tell her? And if you do, hold your tongue. But do you tell her, or do you keep it secret?
First, what I'm going to say is, because I do, at this point, yes, I would.
You will tell her the truth. After you, assuming after you activate the Ixion dampener.
Correct.
And Norma on the other side of the door is like, fuck.
And then I'm going to say, you are the last person that should be talking about secrets. You've not told me one plan out of iota. What have you told me? of what you're planning.
Archibald, my dear,
Don't give
you
me-
of all people should know that plans never come to fruition when they make contact with the enemy. I'm an opportunist. Don't ever forget that.
Believe me, I won't. But it would be nice to have a heads up on what you are planning.
Okay, she agrees to be transparent with you since you're being transparent with her. She finds this idea of yours, this deal that you've worked out, as much as reprehensible as it's like Suarge for somebody like Yeva Schumann, she finds the entire idea that you've cooked up to be delightful in its scope. And she supports it 100%. But she has questions about your choices. As more specifically, how does this plan benefit your house? House Librius? How does it help the both of you become greater empowered? With that, if you have an answer to that, go ahead and send me the side message.
Yep. That.
And after you're done explaining yourself, you see
Finish the scene.
Yeva's
I'll
like,
give it to you later.
okay, that's fine. He's like, I understand you're supposed to go on some sort of a field trip with Eloise Cheshire. If everything that you told me about this meeting is true, are you certain that they won't sell us out the moment that they find these exiles?
Probably not, but I also think that you should know a couple things about Two Pile, just in general. And I do plan. The thing is,
A new plan?
No, I wouldn't say a new plan.
Where have I heard
but
this before?
You've probably heard a lot. But just to make sure you know, Two Pile is 7 planets, not just 1.
You know this for certain? 7 planets worth of exiles? Are they united?
That's where we come in.
I have to hand it to you, Archibald. I'm starting to see the brilliance of that mind of yours. She smiles. And now I believe you have another appointment to meet with somebody else, do you not?
I wouldn't say so. It's good to know
Very
we
well.
see eye to eye on some things.
Well, tell me, are you going to require my aid at the spaceport or not? Otherwise, I have my own ideas.
Well, I guess it's completely up to you whether you would want to go. I don't necessarily need it.
I don't particularly like this Eloise Cheshire. I would have preferred that you and I go instead. I'll go if you wish it. Otherwise, I have other things I believe I should be attending to here. Looks
me
out
what
the
they
window. Well, for one, security in this place is atrocious. This Marshal Reed?
I would have to agree.
In the old days, they would have hung up his entrails all over town. For such a failure, a breach in security. I can certainly come up with some ideas. She looks around and she just kind of gets into that pose where her arms are folded behind her back and she looks out her window. Oh, yes. Strategy is good, but tactics, that's where the war is won.
100%.
Go on, dear. I shall see you upon your return.
I'll see you as well.
Do you let yourself out after you close down the dampener? I believe you have a particular door you want to knock on this morning.
Yeah. I would actually like to have a talk with Lady Daphne.
Very good. Make your way down to Daphne's chambers. Is she there currently, or is she elsewhere in the palace at this hour?
In the morning, she's probably having breakfast in the main hall.
Very good. You make your way downstairs as the servants are bringing up platters of food and stuff. Anybody else who's there for the morning breakfast, anybody who's up that early, make yourselves available and just, play along, I suppose. As Archibald makes his way down, who does he find in the dining room area with Daphne?
I assume Stilgar has gone home by now.
Yes, he was flown home.
Also,
Just
another
gonna make
question.
a note of where that siege is, just in case.
Is Ashir in the room?
Is Zashir in the room? Or sorry, Tiberius.
Well, they know now. Unless Pardot has me doing something, I might be.
Pardot, you're up at all hours, especially this early. Are you present in the dining room area where everybody's having breakfast?
I am. Yes.
Excellent. Archibald's here. What about Eloise? She ready to go to the starport early with the general?
Yeah, she'd probably be there.
So I guess one of the last ones to arrive is probably Norma. Okay. Mother of worms. Archibald, you come into the dining room and it's almost a full house in here. You want to have a word with the Duchess, I would imagine, though.
Correct. Yes.
Private or out in the open?
I guess somewhat private. I guess the person he's trying to avoid is Zoshir.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. So
you pull her aside during breakfast, or do you wait until after everyone's finished eating to broach the subject with her?
I would wait till she's done. As long as we're not in no hurry or anything like that. So.
Okay. Unless anybody has anything to bring up during the morning breakfast period, and we can proceed with your conversation.
Just you'll see Norma will pass by Zoshir, hand him something very subtly, and whisper something into his ear, and carry on as if she never did anything at all.
Proceed, Archibald.
Lady Daphne, could I have a couple minutes of your time real quick? I just want to talk to you about a couple things.
Of course, what can I do for you?
I had a kind of a little bit of idea with the large mountain of spice that we have. That just came to our attention. Ixian dampener obviously is on.
Okay.
What's your idea?
It actually kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone. I did not want to. Granted. Would I know the name of Zoshir?
I don't think he ever gave it at the meeting. I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
Yeah, unless you heard it from someone else.
Okay. I didn't want to say it in front of the, I think his name is Zoshir. Am I correct, lady?
The Fremen? Yes.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I could have a better idea of how to deal with that. I think we should utilize the Spice Guild in this situation.
You mean the Navigators Guild?
No. Spice Guild. Sorry. Spice smugglers. And I think we should use that to our advantage. The reason why I say is if they are the ones that are the primary ones that provide the locals with spice. We give it to them. And or, like I said, we give it to them. It'll look good on us. Plus, just giving them the information could be very beneficial for us as well.
I'm
spice.
open to giving them a generous cut.
It was just an idea.
As far as I understand it, this is primarily a Fremen operation, so why are you speaking to me and not Zoshir? I certainly hope you're not planning on cutting the Fremen out.
Oh no, definitely not. But I didn't know what you plan to do with it as well. Maybe a Fremenette, but we're obviously going to help in some way, shape, or form, so...
House Cheshire has been known to employ smugglers from time to time.
How modest
Well,
of you,
not known. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. I also have another... we need to talk about Omelis.
I think we also need to talk about your wife.
I think those are definitely two situations we need to talk about. Thing is something needs to... Did you send him to do what he did?
Did I send him to do what?
Kill me.
Absolutely not.
I believe you. That's the thing is I don't think you did.
I think someone is trying to make you think it was Omelis.
Yes, but I also think that Omelis is pretty smart himself. There's a lot he could benefit from that.
Omelis knows that his best bet is loyal service.
You're not wrong. But I do plan on getting a confirmation that it wasn't him. And I wanted you to know that.
Well,
And I won't, if that's what you're asking.
whether it was or was not him, I would appreciate knowing whatever proof you find.
I also wanted to talk to you about my pardon and when will I expect it.
A formal pardon.
Hmm?
That's correct. We never completed that, did we?
We did not.
I'll see to it.
Thank you.
I'm assuming that this pardon will also come as a double feature, as like, hey, he's not actually dead. Because currently, like, some people know that he's dead or officially or what have you, and there hasn't been any funeral or anything like that to that effect. And I think you already floated the idea of letting people think that he's dead. But I'm assuming that this is,
Yeah, for future.
It's not a posthumous pardon.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So
excellent. So you, okay?
I'll have it ready to go once you're ready to reveal your miraculous resurrection to the Imperium.
And my last thing that I wanted to talk to you is you didn't really sound... I kind of wanted to go more in depth about Tupine, I should say. One thing, if we're going to use the heighliner, we need the people to use it. It takes an ungodly amount of people to use it. And on top of that, I've seen it with my own eyes. They have engineers, and you wouldn't believe the stuff that they can do.
Here's the question, Archibald. Do you think that your charisma and skill as a leader is sufficient to overcome whatever bitterness and long-held grudges the residents of Tupile have for the houses of the Imperium?
And that's a very good question. And I'm going to give you the truth.
Because once they are let loose in the Imperium, I imagine a great many of them will want to reclaim what they lost, take revenge and otherwise pursue personal petty matters at the expense of whatever it is that you're planning to utilize them for.
You're not wrong. I do expect that. Because I'm sure it's going to happen. But I also think that when that does happen, we'll be more than equipped to handle it.
What's your plan? What can you offer them that is alluring enough and desirable enough that it will overcome years, generations, sometimes centuries of bitter grudge?
Well, I would say the Landsraad.
What love do the residents of Tupile have for the Landsraad?
That's the point. They don't have any.
You plan to turn 7 planets of exiles against the Landsraad?
I wouldn't say against, more bully.
The Landsraad is a collection of very proud nobles. I don't think they would respond well to being bullied.
I wouldn't think they would respond well to heresy on your part. Both of us have skeletons in our closet, my lady.
My conscience is clear.
Same as mine. I'm not afraid of death. I want you to know that.
I never thought you were.
By all means.
After all, you sleep with that woman every night. You clearly have the courage of 10,000 lions.
Oh, believe me, and to be honest with you, she's really not that bad once you get to know her. Yeah, she's got a rough exterior, but once you reach in there.
Would you like a little bit of friendly advice?
Go ahead.
You should ask Norma if she's willing to give the woman elocution lessons. She's clearly ambitious, but she just as clearly has contempt for the station she covets. She will not go far, and you will not go far, with her tongue as sharp as it is, and her contempt clear for all to see.
And I agree. And to be honest with you, that tongue is probably going to get us killed at one point. Especially if he says that to the Harkonnens.
Or any number of houses.
Exactly. But is there anything you need to talk to me about other than Lady Daphne?
At the moment, no. I would like to know what you find out about Omelis. I admit that I am a little biased in my opinion of him.
I agree. And I will keep you updated. That's what I show my respect.
Let me know what happens with you and Eloise on the heighliner.
Do. And I show my respect.
You shut down the Ixian dampener, and you start making your way over to meet with Eloise to grab a ground car or a thopter and head out to the spaceport. Daphne, you're almost frightened when you turn back around. There's a page just standing there waiting for you to address them. They're holding a message deemed urgent. Your Grace. They hold it out for you to read.
Take it, open it.
This is just in from the heighliner that came in from Jabberwock this morning. And he doesn't know, obviously, what's in the message, but he kind of lowers his gaze. You open up the message and you read it. It's, ironically enough, it's from Omelis. The Sisselrad have given their decree, and the Garden have set a date. Your sister is to be executed in the following weeks. You need to make preparations now and decide who it is that you want to take with you, if anyone at all, to attend the execution.
Thank you. You're free to go. I will go find Norma.
Hanging out in the dining room table. On your way over there, you're thinking about Alicia, but you also can't help but think about Kyra as well, the person you were seeking to see today with Massum and potentially Norma. You walk into they see you walking back into the dining room, Norma.
Ah, Duchess. What an honor.
Lady Norma, do you have a moment for a private conversation?
I always have a moment for you, Daphne.
Find some secret Doug could do the weird, creepy language thing.
Language.
I received a message from Jabberwock just now.
Is it that time? Your sister.
Sisterhood isn't going to let her die, are they?
A useful tool is still a useful tool until it isn't. Do you see us having a reason to keep her?
I mean, apart from her DNA, which seems to be the obsession of all Bene Gessert, no.
You have it too. I've not heard inklings of her salvation.
I have it too, and yet I have been left strangely at liberty in regards to my personal life.
You still may yet have an heir, as it seems your desire now. We play the long game. You know this. You're still in the mix.
Still rather surprised I haven't been assigned a consort yet. I have to do all the heavy lifting myself.
I did a little. I told you you're on your own. Still, I dropped off someone.
Shame he's already married.
Since when has that stopped anyone in the Landsraad?
You think I'm anyone's second wife?
Oh, you're who the Bene Gessert asked of you to be.
Well, alright then.
As we all are.
Will you come with me to Jabberwock? I'm asking. Personally.
Asking GM. I have time to do this, yes?
Yes, as I said, the execution is not supposed to take place until several weeks away, so you have some
Okay.
time on Arrakis before you have to
Okay.
go attend Alicia's criminal punishment.
I will be at your side. Yes.
I appreciate that, thank you.
I'll take your hand and pat.
We should let Kyra know too.
Yes, there are some things I need to speak with her about as well.
I know Massum wanted to see her. I will have the ornithopter prepared.
Very well. I shall see you on the landing pad.
And Daphne goes to make those arrangements.
Very good. As you're making those arrangements, you bump into Archibald and Eloise, who I'm assuming are already finished with their breakfast and preparing to head off to the spaceport in some fashion. Are you going to go through town? Because once you leave the residence, you have to go through the streets of Arakeen, make your way through the marketplace or what have you, and then make your way over to the spaceport. Or do you want on a ground car, or by foot, or do you want to just hop an ornithopter straight over?
I'm in favor of ornithopter. Going through the streets seems
Dangerous.
unwise.
Yes,
In the daytime when there's almost hardly anybody out.
Well, I guess it'd be up to you.
Ornithopter.
I could. Ornithopter.
Uh-oh. Is Eric
There,
frozen?
freeze.
No!
Oh
Oh no!
Come back to
No.
us, Eric!
We've
Hey,
Eric,
lost.
smile, though.
No.
He was going to reveal us something that was so shocking it broke the internet.
You know, it normally does.
No! There it
No!
goes. Oh no!
Doom.
No. Not happening.
Well, he's still on the Discord, so I think it's just Zoom. Here he is.
Drea comments in chat. For once, the ornithopter wasn't what crashed.
Sorry about that.
We figured it's just, you know, the computer's so shocked at the things that you have to tell us that, you know.
But now everybody's in the
Not
wrong
enough
box.
not enough bandwidth for the bombs I was going to drop on you. Okay. You elect to take a thopter over. You ready? Do you, Archibald, or do you take anybody with you, like another contingent of troops or something on a secondary thopter or anything like that?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to keep this incognito? Because if you show up at the spaceport with like multiple ornithopters, like, holy shit, House Cheshire is here. Or do you want it to be like, oh, I think somebody from House Cheshire was here the other day, or like, how exactly are you trying to conduct yourselves?
Well, first of all, I definitely don't want people knowing I'm alive, so I can't just be out walking. So
So if you want to keep this low key, you probably don't want to have like a second or tertiary escort or something. You just want to go by yourselves. So this is a wonderfully awkward moment where you and Ellis get to sit one behind the other inside of a military-style ornithopter as you're flying over Arakeen in the daytime. You land in the spaceport, you give them the transponder codes and all that fun stuff, and they bring you in. There are a lot of port hands here, laborers. There's security personnel. Actually, hold on, I wrote a whole little blurb here. It's business as usual at the Arakeen spaceport. Carryalls fresh from a spice haul roar onto the tarmac as ornithopters buzz overhead and arrive on landing pads, disgorging their spotters and co-spotters. Guild lighters land with a clatter and the hissing sound of a door release. More off-world workers eager to throw themselves into a harvester. The spaceport concourses is a hustle-bustle of activity between CHOAM representatives performing audits on spice exports, guild agents checking passengers for contraband as they queue into groups ready for off-world travel, merchants selling their wares, and security personnel harassing the locals and demanding to see sufficient identification. Finding someone here who may have valuable information on Commander Reese's heighliner may have more difficult than searching the proverbial haystack looking for a needle. How would you like to proceed?
So we're there, correct? Are we in the station or?
Yeah, you're on the tarmac on a landing pad near one of the main buildings. It's a big concourse of different buildings and such. The guild embassy's not too far away. Big onyx black building. But yeah, there's a bevy of activity because there's constantly ships going in, ships going out. There's freight that has to be unloaded and readied and so on.
Okay, so just to forewarn you, I did take off my general's uniform and all that good crap.
Okay. Your standard tunic and like trousers and stuff. Okay, fair enough.
Basically, I needed to look normal.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of ride the crowd all the way where I need to go. There's obviously so much stuff going on, so there's probably some highway traffic going like this, so on and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah, there's dispenser carts and ground cars leaving and coming all the time. So as you come into this place, you see that there's a couple of people that notice you as you're exiting the ornithopter, and it's like, oh, how can I help? You know, he's like one of the port hands.
Before I get there, I'm going to look at Eloise. Give her the eye. Are you coming?
Yeah, she's following Archibald's lead for the moment.
Okay. So now, what did this guy say?
He's like, what can I help you with? Do you need to refuel? Are you looking to get something off world? How can I help? He recognizes the logo on the side of the ornithopter of House Cheshire, and he's like, oh, House Cheshire, welcome. How can we assist you today?
I'm gonna kind of look over to Eloise and I'm gonna say, my lady here would like to get on. She has business to deal with.
Are you,
and I looked at her.
out of curiosity, how is Eloise dressed for this particular occasion?
So I think we're gonna lean on my connections a little bit. I obviously can't look like I'm in the guild officially, but I think I'm still dressed like I might be guild. Just none of the proper trappings giving me away as guild.
Gotcha. Okay, like my lady, if I may, if you need if you have any need for queries, the information booth is right over there, and they kind of point you to this like little concourse where there's like a station and several people from the spaceport that basically are in constant communication with the Highliners who are up in the atmosphere and the local guild embassy. So they're kind of act as like the go-between.
Yeah.
And like, I'll take care of those chocks for you, and like takes out like some chocks, puts them on the wheels for the ornithopter's landing pad, and starts like working with the crew out there to make sure everything's up and tidy.
Thank you. You've been very helpful. I'll make my way over to the word I just completely forgot.
You make your way over to the booth, and there's a bunch of people like constantly talking and like at the same time, and they're trying not to ignore you, but they're talking like 2 or 3 people at the same time. Please hold, please hold, please hold. And they tap the little console of like who they're like the various conversations they're keeping track of. They're mentat trained, so they stop for a second, their eyes roll back into their heads, and they're like, yes, how can I assist you?
Yes, she'll turn to Archibald. What do you know the designation of the heighliner we're going to?
As in like what, out of character, as in like where the navigator is? Or
I mean, yeah, I want that. I want the heighliner we're going to. I'll know where the navigator is.
Okay, I'm like, what? Okay, yeah, no, I would. I'd point the heighliner out too. Yes.
Okay.
You want to board a heighliner? Which one?
I'm sure he would have remembered which one.
Would he? Give me an understand check, difficulty 2.
That's a good. Yeah, I was in a box, so I don't know. Fuck.
I know you went through a lot of shit, a lot of trauma on that trip.
I forgot about that shit. All right, give me a minute.
Can I assist perchance by like jogging his memory, like when'd you land, and be like,
sure, I'll accept that. Roll
cool.
For you. Roll communicate and truth, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
So, I'm gonna use this one momentum because we need to not get the wrong one and then get absolutely wrecked.
It's just
Oh.
it's one die for assisting, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Communicates.
Then I'm going to use the focus deductive reasoning. Samita. 2
You
successes.
got 3 successes together and a complication. I
Yep.
love those. So you get an extra momentum from that, but you also get a complication, which is bad.
Yep, that's bad.
Would you like to buy it off with some extra threat? I'm running a
How
special
much
today,
are you
2 for 1.
talking here?
2 threat for 1 complication. Special of the day.
You know what, sir? You're probably just gonna just absolutely bash me with all this threat later on, so why not?
Sure. 2 threat it is. Okay. No complications from this line of inquiry. So you're like, the ampo, the appa, and then you're like, you're thinking of like, what the fuck was it? What is it? What is it called? And you're starting to like, oh, the Ampelorios, you say. I'll put it in the chat so you can see what it seems like. Oh yes, that's a and you're like, the Ampelorios, and he's just like, I'm sorry, the what? The Ampelorios, yeah, that's the ship that I need to go. And he's like, he looks over the shipping documents, eyes roll into the back of his head, go back out. There's no such logs here for an Ampelorios. Is this a joke? I'll say that you did so well with your understand check that the moment you say the word Ampelorios, it recalls old myths and tales that you heard as a child that you can't quite remember. You can spend a point of momentum if you like to ask a question of your choice that I will have to answer truthfully. If you have questions, if you want additional information about your recent check.
This is on me, correct, or Eloise?
For either one of you, you both partook in the test, so either one of you can spend a momentum if you wanted to ask for additional information.
What are you thinking, Eloise?
I'm thinking it's a reference to something that'll let us decipher the actual ship name. I'm trying to think what question to ask to get us there.
Oh, did Eloise go through the DUNE tarot deck that Amira got her at all? Like, did she sit down and go through the
Probably,
deck?
yeah.
Well, then you probably remember this as the word Ampelorios as well. The poor worker is just like, I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, but there was no Ampelorios. There never was. When exactly did you say this ship pulled into harbor? And pulled into port?
She'll relay whatever information Archibald provided her.
Oh, and they start looking through the dates. Oh, it arrived, and you cross-reference that with the time that you went, House Cheshire went to the starport to confirm Archibald's body. And that's when he's like, oh, okay. There is an entry here for something that came in, but that's odd. And starts looking through the records. There's an entry here, but there's no information. And he turns it towards you to see so you can see for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like somebody had started the process of filling in information and then left it blank. Or They deleted it.
Okay.
Which would definitely make sense. I'm gonna ask, can you tell me which dock? Can you tell us at least which dock that came in?
This seems to indicate 54, which right down there, he says. You see, like, there's a big landing pad out there for like guild lighters that will just come down like and unload tons of freight and tourists and whatnot. Like that's where it and that's exactly where you were offloaded along with Yeva in your respective coffins.
Okay. And I'm gonna whisper to my lady over there.
Okay. Pardon us a moment, sir.
Of course.
Can I reach out to any of my contacts within the guild, perhaps?
Sure.
That are...
You certainly can.
Yeah.
Do you try to reach them through like Communinet, or do you head over to the embassy?
Oh, I'm not going to the embassy. That seems like a bad idea. Community.
Fair. All right, so you reach out through Communinet and you make contact with some old contacts of yours from the guild, people who worked on the ships themselves, people who work at the embassy and so on. Like, Eloise, is this? How did you get my comm number? How can I help you?
I'm resourceful. I need a favor.
Okay.
There's a missing entry for a heighliner delivering, well, 2 bodies at this dock. 54, you said?
Yeah.
At dock 54. It appears to have been... I doubt someone forgot to put an entry in, so it's been deleted. I'm trying to find out which heighliner this is.
I see. Give me communications. Difficulty 2.
Okay. I suppose truth will go here. I'm being honest for once.
True.
And none of my focuses matter. I'll risk it. I won't spend any momentum.
Could I assist?
To talk to the guild?
Oh, no, never
For a
mind.
favor?
If you'll let me assist, I'll assist, but...
Oh boy.
Sounds like you might need to.
Yeah, geez.
I'll elect to spend a point of determination.
Oh God.
Okay.
I have 2.
This
it's
matches
fine.
up with your statement?
It does for my talent of unquestionable loyalty to House Cheshire. This is for us.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, I'll spend my bonus determination from that for this.
Excellent. Okay. So you get two successes, and did I see a 20? Oh,
an 18.
close. It's an 18. Okay, not quite. All right. So yeah, you at first they're a little like, I really shouldn't be having this conversation. You're like, please, listen, it's just a little bit of information, and you kind of bringing them over to your side. Like, look, I have a job to do too, and this is it. Can you give me the information or not? Yes, of course we can. One moment. And they start looking through the records. Okay. So we did have a ship that came in, but there seems to be a discrepancy between the Port Authority and our records here. They didn't give us any. Well, the only thing that we have is the acting agent who actually dealt with the individual lighter, the one lighter that came off of that heighliner, whatever it was. This is a man by the name of Tomasz Asilda. She sends you the name via the Communinet communicator. Lives in Arakeen, the 5th quarter, she says, which is just another way of saying like the poor part of town. He has a hovel in that sector of the city.
Fun. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. I'll turn to Archibald. Does the name Tomasz Asilda mean anything to you? Okay.
GM, would I know that? No.
No.
I'll tell her. Not that I'm aware of. I didn't hear anything like that.
We might want a wardrobe change. We're going to the unfortunate side of town.
It's gonna take a little bit of time to get there, especially
Okay.
if you're gonna go by ornithopter, unless you take a ground car or
I
something
think.
like that.
Yeah.
However,
Oh,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
You do have agents on the other side of that city already. That sector of town, if you recall, what is near those big area where the landfills are, which are close to the palace. The person who's closest to the palace right now, who could probably assist you, Pardot Reed, your house marshal.
Right. Eloise will just. Well, she'll look around to make sure she's not going to be easily overheard, and then call Pardot Reed.
Sure. Pardot, you're being summoned.
Hello.
Marshal Reed, I have a favor that I need from you.
Right. What kind of favor?
I need you to find a man in the 5th Ward. His name is Tomasz Asilda.
I will send out my agents.
Excellent.
Click.
Like a badass.
As
All right.
Marshal Reed is,
Sending
mustering
people out,
his
yeah.
forces, what are the two of you doing?
Well, having had a passing familiarity with Marshal Reed's tactics, I'm going to presume they're not going to have the dialogue at Tomasz's home. So I think perhaps I'll turn Archibald. Marshal Reed's getting our man, who I think will have the information we need to find this heighliner of yours.
Good. Pardot Reed.
All right. So you guys sit tight for the meantime. Pardot Reed, who do you send in your stead to go investigate this Tomasz Asilda character?
Tiberius, of course.
Of course, Tiberius. He's the only one on my payroll right now. There's just one name. He gets paid more than I do. It's weird. I'm very tempted to say Pardot sends himself as Tiberius this time.
I mean,
To
no
keep-
one's stopping you.
Right?
So.
No one's stopping me.
That
Pardot
would
puts
be
on the
amazing.
helmet and the suit, sends
Very
himself
good.
out. Simply lets his, I forget the name and the title of the man who is second, like the captain, the commander.
Oh, Jaromir
Batman.
Hajan. Yes.
Yes, let him know that I have important business to attend to and will not be available for the next 2 hours. And then
Of course, Marshal. Do you need any assistance? Do you need any additional personnel to accompany you?
not I, but I am sending Tiberius, who will need 3 other guards to accompany.
Very good, sir. It'll be done. Do you require a thopter or ground car?
Ground car.
Ground car it is. Right away, sir. He gets on his communionet, and sure enough, a hover car comes over to the front of the palace, ready and waiting. You take Zoshir with you, and you jump in. Is that the idea?
As one of the 3 guards, so that
Sure.
Zoshir and Tiberius can be seen at the same place at one point. Yes.
Excellent. Hurdy struggles to keep the mask on. Hold on! Give me a minute, please. Come on. How do you breathe in this thing? The ground car speeds away and into the city of Arakeen. This particular sector of town is one that is pretty empty for the most part. There's not many people in the streets at this hour just because of the heat involved. So many stay indoors, or they walk with a parasol, or they make their trips very short. They go to the local temple or whatever. They say their prayers and they go home. This certainly seems to be the case in the neighborhood where Isilda makes his home in. This is a small little hovel, clustered together with others very closely, with maybe a narrow opening in between each unit. Houses made out of adobe, with like these shoddy sort of like flimsy metal roofs. You hear the sound of the roof as the coarse sand makes its way over with the wind and just kind of like rattles off over top of it. As you approach, you see that there's various different ways that you can approach. You can squeeze your way through the narrow opening between the units and establish a presence on the opposite side if there's like a back door or side door or something like that. How would you like to proceed? Each unit has like one little window cut out of the adobe, so you can, and like a curtain behind it. Very low tech, nothing special here.
Said there was a side door.
Some have side doors, yes.
We do not know which one he lived in specifically. We'd have to start knocking on doors. Is that correct?
No, they're all sort of clearly labeled for the most part.
Okay.
The starport has to have very meticulous records of who their employees are and where they can be located at all times. So of course they give you like the specific location on the block. You're like, this is the one over here. It's like it's in the cul-de-sac. It's close to the end, but not the one at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah, the roads here are all beat up, so you're kind of lucky that you feel good that you're in a suspensor car as opposed to like a regular ground car. Be bouncing all over the place. Hurdy's like, oh, what are we doing here?
Yes.
Well,
What are we doing here?
That was my question.
very good question it is. We are locating an individual.
And then what?
We are detaining the individual.
What? Why would you detain someone of their freedom? What kind of house, what kind of tribe is this that you've gotten me working it for, Soshir? I mean, really?
We've done worse.
To our enemies?
Oh my god.
Is this individual an enemy?
That remains to be seen. After detaining, we interrogate.
Oh, so much mystery. It's a yes or no question. Fine. We will detain him, she says. We need some help. Okay.
Zoshir's going to slink in a window.
Okay, you're gonna go through the front of where the window faces. What about you, Marshall Reed?
Yes. Marshall Reed. As Zoshir is going through a window, Pardot is going up to the door and knocking.
Okay. They both face the front, so you're like trying to sneak through the curtain, Zoshir. Hand on your crisp knife. Pardot just comes up and starts knocking. Hurdy's just like, and just squeezes her way easily through the gap inside the units, and like starts looking around. I need the worst of you to make a stealth check. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's Hurdy. So let me look at her stats real quick.
My move is a 7.
Your move is a 7. Yeah, it's definitely not you. Where's Hagaharg? 1 second here. Here we go.
My move is a 4, but I'm knocking on the door for a very specific reason.
I take it back. You have the worst move. So go ahead and roll yours. And if you have a focus in stealth, go ahead and use that.
I do not have a focus in stealth.
Well, you have 2 momentum if you'd like to use some, or you could pay me an extra threat, and you can get 3 dice to roll instead of 2. For
I'd like
your
to spend
terrible
one of our
move test.
momentum for 1 extra die.
Sure.
Well,
Why not?
yeah, why
Okay,
not?
go ahead.
Excellent.
Roll 3 dice. That's 2 successes.
2
One
successes.
One
My
moment
target
while I
number
roll
was
something.
8.
I'm gonna roll. Ooh, that's terrible. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna roll some dice here. I rolled 3 successes. Did you have a determination point aligned with your drive that you're using for this, or no?
I do not.
Cool. So you fail. So Zoshir's like quiet as a cat, like making his way through the window, not making a sound heard. He's just kind of like sneaking up over there, being all scouty, looking around. And you just go up to the door and go, doo, 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 doo. And there's some sounds going on the inside of the house. What? Who's there? Do you answer the query, Marshall Reed?
If I remember correctly from last season, the Tiberius helmet had like a little voice modulator, so
Yes.
it comes in with like a.
Correct.
Health and Safety Department.
Health and safety? What? Zoshir, you start moving through the curtain. Let me see if he notices that you're there.
Oh god.
1 success. Are you trying to be quiet? Or are you trying to stay hidden, or do you just not care and just like, hi, I'm Zoshir. Get used to it. I'm here.
As funny as the last one is, I'm definitely going to be as sneaky as possible.
All right, you just need more than 1 success to stay hidden, so this guy doesn't notice you're there.
My specialty is stealth.
Excellent.
So I've got that going for me, which is nice.
2 successes. So that's 1 extra success, momentum that you gain from that. And you're quiet as a cat. He walks right past you without realizing that you're there. But you see like through the limited sunlight that's coming through and hitting the curtain. Through the spice fibers, you see him moving, and you see him grabbing a maul pistol and loading it and then training it at the door. No one called you here. What do you want?
Oh.
Three, two,
2, 1. Yep.
And he fires.
And he fires.
And runs
No
out the back door.
response.
And that's where we'll go to on break. We shall return in 10 minutes. The time is now 11:34 Eastern Standard. It's 12:34 Standard Time. We shall return in 10 minutes.
Goodness.
Welcome back. We returned from our break, and when we last left off, some of our intrepid house retainers have cornered a very sketchy port authority agent who may or may not have taken a bribe to keep something quiet that had occurred recently at the spaceport in Arakeen. And as our agents were quietly and not so quietly infiltrating his small little hovel, said a sketchy Port Authority agent located his Mola pistol, trained it at the door, and when he wasn't convinced that the safety and health inspection team was at his door, proceeded to fire through the said door when it was clear that no one was returning his query. Now we will continue with combat.
I would like to tackle him from the side, since I am sneaky and I am hidden.
You may attempt that, but he gets the guns go first in this particular game, because he fired first, so he's going to fire into the door. If he makes a particularly good roll, Pardot could be hit, and he may not have the ability to dodge, because he doesn't know that this threat exists.
No.
So I'm going to spend a threat.
Can I yell?
Give him an extra
before
die.
he fires?
I'm gonna say normally you could, but I'm gonna spend 2 threat and make sure that he goes first. So he fires that gun. Oh, sorry, I forgot to die.
Oh, I just casually forgot to die.
Okay, that's 2 successes. Okay, Pardot. You hear what is unmistakably the report of a gunshot coming from inside of the hovel around the same time as Zoshir is trying to yell for you to say, but yelling, gun, or what, look out, he's armed, whatever it is that Zoshir wanted to say. It's
duck.
Somewhat, duck. It's somewhat occluded by the loud gunshot that's coming from the inside the house. It goes right through that flimsy little wooden doorway. So, I need you to make me a battle roll, actually.
Pardot may not be sneaky, but he can fight.
Ah, very good. You need at least 2 successes to not get shot.
Okay.
Or no, you couldn't just ask the guy.
I got 1 success. Getting shot.
So, you don't have a shield?
I
anything
do
like
not
that
have
on?
a shield. I own a knife and a large cat.
It's quite ballsy. Okay. All right, Zoshir, you see, you hear the gun go off, and you hear somebody on the other side of the door crash onto the floor. Pardot, you take, let's see, what's your battle? 7?
My battle is 6.
Your battle is 6. So for purposes of dying, your battle is 5 right now. It's still 6 when you go to roll stuff, but for purposes of narrative hit points, yeah, you basically, this guy shoots through the door, and it deviates enough that it doesn't hit like your neck, but it just grazes your shoulder right here, and it draws blood, and you're like, ah, shit. You inevitably stagger back from the doorway as he continues to fire shots through the doorway and start heading out the back. Now it's your turn, Zoshir. You can run and tackle if you like.
I'm gonna do just that.
Okay, go ahead and roll. I'm gonna roll for this poor bastard.
Should
Who's about to get laid out?
would that be more battle or move?
It would be battle,
Okay.
because it's not really a contest of moving quickly. It's just you're right within just a few feet of each other, so you can easily just the question is getting him to the ground as he's trying to head out the house. You must be kidding me. So you grab a hold of him, and you both kind of twist and go down, rolling onto the floor with one another, and you knock over all sorts of junk and stuff inside of his house. Goes crashing to the floor. And just then you hear the back door kind of crash open a little bit, and you see Hurdy standing there in her Tiberii outfit, and she's like, "Oh no, you don't!" And she like waddles over and like, "Stop it, stop it!" And like starts like swatting at his face and trying to like wrestle the Mala pistol away from him. And together, like the both of you manage to like get him to drop the gun, especially when he sees your mask. He's like, "Oh, what the hell are you people?" For the record, Hardy doesn't draw her crisp knife, but she has her hand on it in case she has to. And she's like, "That was a very mean thing you did." And like she looks out the hole left inside the door. "Oh my gosh, I think your weird friend is hurt. Are you okay?"
Pardot groans and then sticks up a thumbs up into the air, just straight up, so that it can be seen through the hole.
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks. You see Hurdy's like, kind of kicks him just for good measure. "Get up! Don't try to hurt my friends." Pardot?
Friend is a
Seems
very
yours.
strong word.
Pardot gets himself off the ground, sort of dusts off his new shoulder wound, and then goes up to the door, reaches through the hole, and opens it from the inside.
Yeah, he seems terrified the moment you walk through. He's just like, oh gosh, are you Kitseki Syndicate? Lupos? I didn't do anything, I swear. Please don't hurt me. He seems to think you're with organized crime.
Pardot, Tiberius walks forward, not correcting him, reaches down and just points a finger in his face. "You're coming with us."
Oh, okay. Please don't hurt me.
He looks to Zoshir and Hurdy, gives a nod, turns around and walks towards the hover car.
He
As if
picks
to,
Hurdy.
like, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, let's move, nod, without
Sure.
saying, "We're going to a place now."
I gotcha. Are you piloting the ground car back?
Believe so, yes.
Okay. You see Hurdy picks up the Mala pistol and is like, "Call this a gun?" And kind of like nudges his shoulder. "Get up." Zashir, you escort the now prisoner into the back of the car, I'm assuming, and take him back to the palace.
Oh, yes. And I'd check him for anything else on his person that might be a danger.
Not a danger, but you do see something interesting that he had clasped in his other hand quite tightly. That wasn't the pistol. Tiny little box. It kind of slides open on a little mechanism. There's melange inside. Unrefined.
Damn it, I didn't get to say what's in the box.
What's in the box? That's what it is, spice. He's not addicted, but he does have quite a bit in there, like probably tens of thousands of Solaris worth.
Is this something that someone like him would normally have?
No.
Okay.
No, this guy has like 6 months of salary sitting in that tiny little box. At least.
You wouldn't know any Harkonnens by any chance, would you? Looking at this amount of spice.
Harkonnens? No. I want counsel. He says as you stick him into the back of the ground car.
Oh, where we're
towards the
going,
palace.
you won't need counsel. So you're just
Setting me free?
Zoshir's just inwardly chuckling because he's trying to just be scary to this guy.
He's heard he's like, this whole being scary thing isn't working, Zoshir.
Hurdy, you said it out loud. Of course it's not scary
shit,
anymore.
I did. I'm sorry. And then she like leans in closer to the guy, makes a growling sound, and he's just weirded out now.
Have a chihuahua.
You take the prisoner back to the palace. There's already a security team waiting to receive him with restraints if you deem it necessary. They confiscate them all a pistol, and Zashir provides the little. Do you provide them the little box, or do you keep that to yourself? What are you doing with it?
I assume that it is part of the reason why they're bringing him in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he's asking for it the whole time. He's like, hey, that spice is mine. That's mine.
I'd like to know how you afforded it.
I didn't buy it. It was a gift. Mm-hmm.
Oh, excellent. Perhaps you can tell me from whom, so I too can befriend this person.
Wait, where are you where's my counselor? Is he hurt? He's like, shut up, and like kicks his kneecap, and he's like, ow, shit. And they walk him into the palace. Where do you take your captive, Pardot?
I mean, the obvious solution is Daphne's quarters.
That's where we put all of the guests.
All of the prisoners go in Daphne's quarters.
No. The handsome ones.
Is this a
haven't
handsome
seen a picture
prisoner?
of this guy yet.
He's a guy who works at the spaceport. Like he's just a functionary. He basically logs a freight on a pad, hands it over, and like that's pretty much what he does, and makes communication between. He's a go-between, Like he just looks at a manifest and copies it, and basically does that.
He's a regular Joe Schmo.
Pretty much.
To the dungeon he goes.
To the dungeon he goes.
Oh God, poor guy.
So you can take him anywhere you like in the palace, but it's essentially, I'm assuming you take him somewhere private, where you can interrogate him.
Somewhere private with bars, just to add to the atmosphere of like, we're not sitting him at the dinner table.
Sure.
Yet.
You take him to the basement then.
Right,
Palm
yes.
lock opens. There's a large, expansive stairwell that goes down. He's like weirded out by being taken to the bowels of the palace that he'd seen every day on the way to work. What is it? I didn't do anything wrong. You people came into my house and dragged me out and then you, this one tackled me. He says, he points over at Zashir.
I was.
And then you broke my stuff. I'm gonna. You should pay me. You should pay me.
How about I pay you in the spice that you clearly shouldn't have?
That's mine. I told you that's mine. Somebody gave it to me.
As a bribe.
As a what?
As a bribe.
Around this time is when Eloise and Archibald may join the conversation from the spaceport, as they arrive much quicker on the Ornithopter. You see Pardot and his entourage bring this captive to the basement underneath the palace. Do you join them, or do you just kind of like listen in, or how do you proceed?
I kind of want to see Pardot Reed's interrogation methods for myself, actually.
Sure. And Archibald.
Yeah, sure.
You're like, let's make it a party.
He kind of like shakes his head. He's like, "You gotta be kidding me." He's like,
crowd in this little basement.
I better make sure he doesn't kill him.
Or actually, Eloise. Eloise will hover, like, not interrogating, not participating, but because she's trying to look like faux guild, she's just gonna hover in the background so he sees her, but she's not participating.
That's even scarier. Okay, yeah. So you just kind of lurk back there like this with your white gloves on and shit, and you're just chilling, and everybody else sort of lords over him individually or at one time. Who would like to take the floor? I'm guessing Pardot, this is your circus, so
my circus,
you're
my
the
monkeys. Okay. Pardot was a twisted mentat. While that may no longer be the case now, some habits die hard.
If you tell me you're gonna remove this man's kidneys.
No, just the one. No,
oh,
no.
Okay.
So what Pardot will do first is he takes out his bodkin knife
Boy.
By the way,
And-
Archibald's going to be in the room so that way he doesn't do anything stupid.
Before asking even a single question, take the man's pointer finger and just very lightly prick it.
Ow! This isn't legal.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm glad you agree. Where's my counselor?
Slap!
Oh, that.
You get no counselor. You answer our questions, and that
Oh
will be
God,
the only
you're just
blood
like
you
the
lose.
Harkonnens, aren't you?
Oh no! And then Pardot stops immediately. He looks at the knife. He realized what he's just been doing for the past 12 seconds. He drops the knife. He's realized he's not that type of person anymore.
There's a moment
He walks
here
out of
where...
the cell.
Oh shit!
So I'm
Amazing.
gonna get up. And
The guy's confused.
I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna ask him. I apologize. He's had a rough day. He had to.
Oh, he's had a rough day. Would
I
you
could
like to
tell
hear
you've
about
had a
my
rough
day?
So I'm actually gonna say, like, all we want to know is where you got that spice bribe from.
It was a gift, you know. My aunt gave it to me. My sick aunt, who's dying. Pardot, as you leave the room, you have this moment of clarity. Like that's not who I am. That's who I was. And you hear a voice down the hallway, like, Pardot, and like it gets more blurrier as you get closer, but you see the form standing there, and with arms outstretched, like, you did good. Come give mommy a hug.
Oh no!
Oh no!
And you're like,
Nope.
yeah. And
Just
like,
nope out of that situation. Just walk away.
You see this blurry person just standing there with arms open, and you recall to that moment in your childhood when you had made a mistake, but you immediately corrected it, and you made your mother proud. The mother that you can no longer remember. You stalk down the hallway, and you just look at this apparition standing before you, blurred out, voice you can't recognize, but you know it's her. You know this is a living memory of yours that you're somehow salvaging. And you feel that you reach out and you close your eyes and you relive that moment in your mind, and it's just a little bit sharper than it was before. The blurriness around the lines of her face and her hair start to fall away a little bit, and you start to remember something. And to everybody else who's onlooking, is just like you're just standing there like but you are partaking in this past that you thought was completely gone, and yet it's still there. Back to Archibald. You had a question for your captive.
Yes. Where did you get that spice bribe? That's what we want to know.
He's like sweating. Go ahead and roll. Intimidation, I would imagine, comes under discipline, and I imagine as a military person, you have quite a bit of discipline.
Oh yeah,
you can roll that. Anybody
who
has intimidation can also assist. Actually, I'm gonna call for Eloise to roll a discipline roll.
Okay.
1 die.
All right. I'm gonna do power. I think that's appropriate.
Oh, I'm doing
Certainly.
power too.
Okay.
And I can use observe as a focus here to kind of get like the sweat of his brow. All that good
Oh,
shit.
you don't have to
Oh,
roll
so
observe
close.
to know he's lying out of his Yahoo.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
please. You're just trying to browbeat him into giving you the
Never mind.
truth here.
Oh my god!
What happened?
It's bad.
Oh, those are lovely. Those are worthy of my curse luck. So I'm going to help you out and roll 2 dice and get 1 success. You need to be one success. Can you do that?
I
Yeah.
gave him
Look,
one.
Eloise already got. There you go. Eloise got your back. So he sees you and he's like, "I'm not telling you anything." And then you're just kind of like, "Oh no, you won't tell me anything." And you kind of defer to your friend in white in the background. And when he sees her, he really starts to sweat.
Yep.
And he's like, "I want immunity. I'll cut a deal. I don't want to see. I don't want to be inside of a prison cell. Please."
So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to tell me about that heighliner that came in with the two
the
bodies.
Ampelorios. Yes, I
Yeah.
know which one you mean. Yes.
You're going to tell me where it's at?
I don't know where it's at. I was just told to keep it quiet. They gave me some spies and told me to shut up.
Really? Okay.
Really? It's Ampelorios. Come on, the name itself is mythic. You know, like it's a story time, bedtime story. It's a ghost ship.
Okay. Now, you haven't finished the question. Where'd you get that spice?
They gave it to me. The guy on the lighter, the guy with the eye patch, the funny hair, he's a cyborg. He's
Out of
talking about
character,
Reese.
that is Reese, correct? I believe that's what he looked like. Okay.
So he bribed them before he died.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I thought. And does he still have the spice with him?
You saw Zushir had like holding it as part of the evidence that was collected at the scene. It's like a little tiny box with a hinge on it. There's like, almost a year's worth of this guy's salary in that box in melange.
Okay. So I'm going to make like a makeshift like little handbaggy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna tell Zoshir, put a little bit of spice in this, please.
He does so.
Okay.
Pick it back up, and I tell him, you will get this. Because technically, this is a bribe. This is illegal. I shouldn't even be giving you this much right now.
You're gonna give me my
So-
spice back?
No, I'm gonna give you the amount that you can fix your house up with. And pay for the damages. Because technically, taking bribes is illegal and you shouldn't have done that.
Kind
Now,
of looks shiftily around like, okay.
if any of my lovely friends have any more questions, you will answer them truthfully, correct?
Yes.
Sure. So if I bring in my lovely friend, we'll talk to him, correct?
Of course, yes.
Because I'm sure he's got a little bit more questions than I do. And that's when I kind of see, like, basically get Pardot in here, and I'm going to say, do you have any more questions for him?
Pardot, is that in the
Pardot's-
hallway?
In the hallway, he's in his own other world, being dragged back into the room.
Oh God.
He's like, Pardot looks at this man. And has no questions.
Very well. Now, if you say a word about this to anybody, I'll see to myself that you be put 6 feet under. You hear?
You're gonna threaten to kill me over this? And he points like a little baggie of spice.
Only
like,
if you tell
I-
people.
I-
And
I'm not
doing
telling
you
it.
I'm
No.
doing you a solid right now by giving you a little bit of this. I shouldn't even be doing that.
I won't tell anyone. I swear. Just let me go, please. I'll make
Okay.
my own way back home. Oh my God.
Here you go.
He snatches the baggie away and he's like, "Can I go now?" And he's like, trying to leave the basement. You're left to your own devices inside the room. He's just kind of like, what the heck was that all about? There's a ghost ship? They bribed them with spice?
I don't pay attention to these house shenanigans.
Why do I feel like I know less now than I did before?
You're not the only one.
We got the answers we needed. But you guys couldn't have just, I don't know, knocked on his door and asked him?
Well, that's what he did. She points to like Pardot. He got shot because of it. Did somebody call a doctor yet?
Sounds like you guys were doing something other than trying to talk with him, but by all means.
Well, Zashir climbed in through the window. I was just watching the back, and then he had to tackle him because he shot your guy. He shot him through the door. See? And like points up at his like a bloody shoulder still.
He had a gun, and when Pardot knocked on the door, he decided to shoot through the door. So I tackled him.
And I hit him with my hand. I told him stop it. And he did.
Good job, Hurdy. Pat, pat, pat.
Yeah. High five.
Archibald shakes his head. He's like, oh, God. And then he's just, I want a full report to Lady Daphne of what you did today. And hopefully you'll get reprimanded a little bit.
Oh, maybe next time you could do it yourself. Rich entitled one.
I was looking more towards Pardot, but whatever.
Come on, Zashir. Let the rich outframe fight each other. We'll steal their water. Tries to lead you out of the basement.
Zashir wanders after Hurdy.
So you're gonna write a report, Pardot Eloise. Yes.
Leaves the basement, takes off his mask, and sits down in his quarters and just starts writing paperwork after paperwork. Just
your cat Schrodinger comes up and licks you in the face, goes back into the corner and lays down. Eloise and Archibald, what are you doing after that scene that just took place in front of you?
I would say muted.
I had more faith in Pardot Reed's abilities.
Oh, believe me, so did I. Oh, what do you think of that shenanigan? Those shenanigans that went by.
Well, I recognize the name of the ship now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, let me go check it out. Have that conversation with that navigator.
But the problem is it's not a real ship. It's like, and she'll be like, I thought she has the card deck on her. It's literally in the tarot deck I just got. It's not a real ship. I mean, obviously the heighliner you're on is real. I'm saying that the name of that ship is not a real ship.
Oh. I could see that. So,
yes,
I do have a question. What are you looking to learn from the navigator? Just out of curiosity.
I want to know what they're getting out of it. Why they're even bothering to help you. It's not out of the goodness of their heart.
I'd have to agree with you on that one. Everyone's got ulterior motives.
And more importantly, a navigator ally is I don't think I need to tell you, is a powerful thing.
Oh, very. That's one of the reasons why I'm trying to make sure this goes as smooth as possible.
And I think of the two of us or your rebel friends, the person most likely to be able to forge a strong alliance with the navigator is me.
Yeah, I agree. Should we go on our way?
I suppose we wait to see what else we can learn. Maybe Pardot Reed will find some nugget of insight that we don't see.
Maybe Ro could. He is a Mentat after all. You all kind of internalize this, though. Those of you who are familiar with the facts. And it's like, okay, well, sequence of events. the heighliner arrives. They disbarge with Reese and them. House Cheshire collects Archibald and Yeva. Reese and his mercenaries pay off the local officials at the spaceport, this guy in particular. And then they go to collect their payment from their contact, who ends up killing them and not paying them an ounce more in unrefined spice. So it seems that as soon as the navigator and the rest of his crew became aware that Reese and the rest of his people were incommunicado, they decided to leave Arrakis, as that is typically a bad sign when the person who's running the show doesn't pick up the phone anymore. Now, the question is, where are they? But if they are, in fact, exiles from Tupile, there's 7 different planets that not many people know about, that only the guild know about, that you may be able to find them on. Or perhaps making contact with them at some point.
I have 2 bad plans, Uncle.
Oh.
Okay. Shoot.
First bad plan is we reveal you're not dead and wait to see who comes to kill you and capture them.
How would that?
Because
How would
whoever wants you dead probably knows where that ship is.
Good point. What's
Option-
the second one?
We go to the system that they're most likely hiding out in.
Which is
Tupile.
We're gonna end up in Tupile anyways at one point. Well, at least I will be.
The tricky part there is finding a different heighliner to take us there.
Point. Well, I guess there's really only one option.
Well, there's 2. I mean, right off the top of my head, you can hijack a heighliner, like your friend Reese did. That'll go over well, I'm sure.
Yeah,
the other
but,
option, of course, is to bribe a navigator to take you there, because only guild navigators know where Tupile is located.
Oh, I see. The Fremen have left already. Yes, it's just me and Archibald right now. Cool. We have a mountain of spice we could throw around potentially.
Yeah, you're right.
Spice does make the world go round. On that note, we'll switch over to Daphne and Norma, who are preparing a trip to go see Kyra. At some point, you're going to have to collect Massum, of course. And then optionally, you have Belanda and any of the other Fremen that are part of your new entourage, like Zashir, for example, and Nalia, and Hurdy, if you want to bring them as a security escort, perhaps.
I want to bring Zashir because I want him to be aware of the consequences of what happened from the abduction.
Oh, okay.
If Belanda comes, that's up to Norma.
Sure.
Belanda
Awesome.
would be coming, yes.
Okay. So you've got quite a crew coming with you. Do you, Zashir, do you take any additional people with you on this jaunt to Sahaya Tabir?
No, I would imagine Ornithopter not as dangerous as traveling by foot, and Hurdy did a good job. Deserves a tiny vacation.
Don't screw anything up. Stay right there.
Stay. Good.
Okay, so it's just you all and no other additional personnel. Okay. So you pack your bags, you get yourself ready to go. Norma, you don't have to make a check to know that there's something bothering Lady Daphne when you board the Ornithopter. Perhaps it's an unorthodox silence that comes from her. But there's definitely something a little off, something that is on her mind, I guess you can say. Maybe it was last night's date with that weirdo.
As always, never actually saying what's actually being said, I ask her what's on her mind.
Alicia.
Though I might not have anything to offer, perhaps Kyra might be able to swing something. I mean, once still a parent.
Part of me wants to not tell her, but that would be cruel.
It is my belief that she wishes her whole family what's left. Peace when her business is done.
I don't want to lose my sister, but I want the person who killed my mother to be brought to justice. It's not a good place to be in.
Your sister was only a piece used. You know that. She just needs to be able to come to terms with it in order to return to us.
Oh, she's never going to return to us. Even if somehow she manages to avoid execution on Jabberwock, she's never back in this house ever again.
A fair move. You just don't wish to have your kin deceased.
Like I said, I don't want to lose my sister. I want the woman who killed my mother to come to justice. It's difficult to reconcile both feelings. I'm glad the Housefall rat took it out of my hands, however.
You
Two
know she's...
ornithopters. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You know that your mother doesn't need to stay away from you forever.
Assuming that all of these very risky plans that we're working on actually work out the way we want them to.
Then what's one more onto your schedule?
Indeed.
Your ornithopters fly up into the air and take off into the distance and over the shield wall, heading towards Sihaya Tabir. You arrive at the siege, and from recognize the crest on the side of the ornithopter. They don't, hold their weapons ready or anything like that. They seem quite at ease when you land, and they immediately escort you in as soon as they see you. As soon as you walk into the main chamber, there is an aroma that assails your senses. There's heavy, obviously very heavy amounts of melange in the air, but also there's something being cooked currently. She emerges from the curtain. Oh, you're here. I was expecting you. Welcome. Awesome. It's good to see you. And Massum, of course, comes over and embraces his mother. This is Belanda. You remember her? Oh, yes. The little one from the nearby village on Ishia. How can I forget? Always so serious, little Belanda. Oh, yeah, how have you grown? She just smiles and, stands there at attention. You say you were expecting us, she says. How did you know? Kyra's just like, I always know. This way. She hosts you in an adjacent chamber where you had dinner at previously. Lots of cushions and things on carpets on the floor, adorn an otherwise faceless and detailless room. You make yourselves comfortable here. The glow globes she shakes spring to life with light. And she places them certain ones around the room so that there's ample lighting here. It's like a warm orange light that emerges. She immediately assesses your state of mind, Daphne, when she orders people to bring in food for you that has been preparing for several hours and is just about ready. She kneels down next to you and takes your hand. It's like, what bothers you, my child?
I suppose I should get the unpleasant stuff out of the way first.
Always.
The Sisselrad has set a date for Alicia in Jabberwock. It's going to be in a couple weeks. I will be there. Norma has said she'll come with me, and I thought you should know.
Thank you. Normally I would attend something like this for the sake of justice, but given my current state, I don't think it would be wise to do so. And currently the Sisterhood hunts for me. The last thing I want is to endanger any of you by putting myself in the crosshairs yet again. I found a place to hide here on Arrakis, and I intend to keep it that way if possible.
I understand. But you have every right to know, and if you want, I'll come here after Jabberwock.
Yes, of course, you're always welcome here. All of you are, in fact. Even I, Mother? Massum asks. Especially you, Massum. You are more important than you realize. It's like, then why do I feel such regret? Why do I feel like everything is on our shoulders? Why can't we just go back to the way things were, Mother? We'll go back to Ishia. We can grow things. We can grow our food. Be left alone. And she smiles as she serves the food. Massum, do you really believe that we were free under the eye of the Emperor and his Sardaukar captain that sat on the mountain at the outpost, who came down occasionally to check things and to provide your mother with the life-giving care of the spice? Because without it, I would die. Do you really think that we were free back then? Or was it the illusion of freedom? This kind of strikes Massum speechless for a moment. What are we here to do, Mother? You want to dismantle everything? What sort of world is it that you're imagining for yourself, for us? What do they mean to you, Mother? She says, and when he says this, he looks over to Zoshir in particular. Are they just tools for you? And you see, immediately, she just holds up her hands. Massum, we mustn't discuss things like this at the table. We discuss these matters privately. You understand? But Mother, the Sisterhood taught you from the beginning, the Missionaria Protectiva. That she cuts him off again. Careful, she warns him. We don't talk about such things out in the open like that. This is private information. And she kind of makes the eye contact with him, like, watch your mouth. Hold your tongue.
There is something else I could speak of.
Please.
I met a leader among you, a man named Stilgar, and I told him some very important things that the Harkonnen are intending. There is a great white worm that one of their commanders wants to destroy before the Harkonnen leave this planet in favor of the Atreides.
They want to destroy Shai Hulud.
Well, hopefully they won't get a chance, because based on Eloise and Massum's, they've had visions of the same thing. I think the commander is so intent to destroy this worm that he would use a stone burner against it.
Atomics? My gods.
Oh, and Eloise is back in the house. It was a deep cover mission. She and Adelaide worked it all out.
Of course it was. Adeline and her wheels within wheels. Well, I'm glad at least your family is becoming, is growing thicker, perhaps, it seems. More it seems growing every week, it seems. I'm sorry about Alicia.
I'm sorry too.
If the Harkonnens plan on destroying Worm, I don't think we should let them.
Oh,
We should employ the aid of the Fremen and try what we can, however we can, to stop them. I can provide aid through my syndicate. But
I have no intention of allowing them to destroy this worm. That's why I told Stilgar everything I knew.
Stilgar?
I just met him. He was in a Harkonnen dungeon, and Norma and I pulled him out of it.
Impressive. He didn't try to woo you, did he?
I'm not sure. He did ask if I was married.
Of course he did.
Well, I understand he's married as well, so...
No, nothing unusual in Fremen culture. I mean, you could perhaps add to this, could you not? And she motions to Zoshir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Zoshir Tamer.
This is
Sayadina.
the kidnapper who set in motion the string of events to bring us back together.
My Fremen name is Bina, but you may call me Kyra.
Kyra. Lady Daphne, if this is what resulted of my kidnapping, I must revoke my apology.
So you're the one.
I am.
You protected my daughter and my son. Name what you like. I'll give it, and I will grant it to you.
Perhaps not for me, but for an outframe. Duncan, Idaho is planning a razzia.
Against
Apparently,
the Harkonnens?
yes. The mountain.
The Observatory Mountain. Interesting choice of targets. What do you require? What does this Duncan, Idaho require for this razzia?
People and equipment.
Both of which I can provide.
You would be very gracious.
Oh, I'd simply be returning a grand favor that you provided that you helped to provide me by maintaining the lives of my children. I'll only be returning it back to you. And she gives you like a film book that you can write into. It's like, put down a number, however many people you need, weapons and equipment, and I'll make it happen in less than a week's time. I can have that delivered to you. Your location of choice, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will also be preventing the attack of the Grandfather of the Sands. We can't abide that.
Of course, nor would anyone expect you to. You do what you must. Now, if I may, Enjoy the meal. Sister Norma, may I have a word?
Of course.
Sister Norma? Sayadina, would this be regarding what you had requested of me earlier?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. It is no longer required now that I am here.
She
Okay,
gets up,
Kyra,
excuses
just
herself.
nice big tight hug before she goes talking to Norma.
She returns it in kind, and she excuses herself, and she leaves the room temporarily with Norma. And with the hand language that you both know, she's like, "You didn't come here for dinner, or for lunch rather. What do you need?"
They're sending someone to test Massum.
Who?
Mohiam.
She thinks about this for a second. It's a trap. For me.
It's an opportunity as well.
It's a risky opportunity, what you're proposing.
Everything has risks.
Not like this, it doesn't.
But think of the rewards.
Reward of what?
You wish to disrupt the Empire. What would be better than having the Emperor's own truthsayer under our own thumb? Under your thumb.
You want to turn Mohiam?
No. I know that wouldn't work. I want to replace her.
With a face dancer. Loyal to me. Well, it wouldn't be the first time there was a face dancer in Shaddam's court. Or did you know that?
I had guessed.
It's the only way he was able to conceive Massum with me. He made a deal with the Tleilaxu. And they replaced the Emperor for some time. Until he was ready to return. After his business with me was concluded and we were married, he returned to his throne. So it wouldn't be the first time. Mohiam, of course, knew about this, as did the Sisterhood. Or at least they learned about it eventually. Because, as I'm sure you know, we can spot face dancers half a mile away. Can't we?
We can, yes.
So what would putting a face dancer in Shaddam's court do exactly? When Mohiam's people are already there. We'd be tipping our hand all over again.
What would be better than replacing all of her people with our own?
Not soon enough. And she's like, all things in time. And these things, believe me, take time. The schism was the beginning, but not the end. Rest assured, though, Mohiam's arrival on Arrakis, they really want me gone. And they're willing to do whatever it takes to do so. Even if it means killing my child. I won't allow it. If she wants to lure me out, sure, Kyra will show up, and so will so many others ready to dispose of her. If she wants to set a trap, then so be it. We'll set a trap of our own. Make the arrangements, and I'll provide whatever we need to get her out of the way. Mohiam is the number 2 target here. Harishka is the number 1 target. If we manage to topple Mother Superior, the rest will fall like dominoes.
Agreed. In a few days' time, I will be setting out to Caladan, though.
Why?
As there's another prospect. The Sisterhood asks me to test him.
This is unusual.
The circumstances are. For one doesn't normally test the grandson of Mohiam.
Are they onto you?
They feel that I might be lenient if I were to test Massum they feel the same about Mohiam.
It's a very convenient excuse to send you away while he's not protected.
He's on Arrakis. You're here with him. Is there anything that really could stop you from protecting him?
You have no idea. There are dangers here that are invisible even to you. And I've known about them because I've lived here for long enough. All in due time. If you feel safe going to Caladan, and this isn't some sort of a double-pronged trap, then by all means. Otherwise, I'd be very cautious with anything Mohiam throws your way.
We know anything with the Sisterhood is a plan within itself. But not going,
of course it is,
would be more telling. For what reason would I have to recuse myself from this duty?
If you go to Caladan, I would recommend speaking with Jessica. She may be more pliable than the Sisterhood seems to lead on. They always say that one's part of the Sisterhood, always part of the Sisterhood, but if the Sisterhood were to change, we need to know who we can rely on, who we can consider an ally. You understand?
I understand thoroughly. And if she is not an ally?
Then the Sisterhood will clean up their own messes. We shouldn't have to dirty her hands doing so. She's not to be underestimated. She's Mohiam's biggest disappointment and best student. Shall we?
Very well.
Motions back to the room. Goes back through, puts on a different face, comes back in, pleasant, sits down, continues eating with you. You can stay as long as you like, of course. I'm assuming, though, that you wanted to discuss more in-depth plans. Perhaps you had questions for me specifically? She looks around the room to Daphne and Massum. Massum just kind of crosses his arms and looks at his mother.
Apart from coordinating what's going on with the white worm you called Shaihalod, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, this one in particular, the White Death. Yes.
The commander leading the hunt lost a leg to it, and I think probably more than a little bit of his sanity as well.
He thinks he's going to destroy a worm. He most certainly has lost his mind.
If he uses
It's
a
all right.
stone
We can
burner
allow him to
do
destroy
it.
himself. Oh, he's going to be using the atomics.
That's my guess.
I would imagine that he's not without a whisper in his ear.
Possible. I spoke to someone else, another noble, who felt that this whole hunt is being put on by Rabban Harkonnen, and that he doesn't expect anyone to succeed, but he'll choose someone to make his scapegoat.
Do you believe this, noble?
He's ambitious beyond his reach. He's trying to clumsily court me.
She kind of chuckles at that. Amusing.
But there's another one who I think can be cultivated. He's from an agricultural house. His name's Varys. He's House Chol. And he's a conservationist.
Imagine that. Well, we shall see, shall we? The outframe, she says, and looks at Zoshir pointedly. They'll always say one thing but do the other. Only time will
Quite true.
tell.
Do you who live in these houses, as you call them, not marry for love.
Some do. But most of us don't have the option to. We're forced into this situation. Massum and I, in particular, have another kind of purpose, a sort of terrible purpose that we have to live up to. Some would call it a destiny, perhaps, but it's much more dire than that.
Such as being the Mahdi?
You know the legends quite well, yes. I feel that perhaps Massum can contribute to this, and could be somewhat of importance here in this time. I've seen it. And Massum sits up for a moment. It's like, but how do you know any of this is real? What you've seen what happens with our visions, Mother. Some of them become true and some of them don't. Don't you realize this whole thing is a trap? And we're falling right into it. And Mrs. Massum, please. It's like, no, I've heard enough. I think I need to go. I don't want to return back to the palace now. And you see, Kyra is a bit crestfallen at hearing this, but she maintains her composure easily. And it's like, it's all right, Massum. You'll understand your purpose and mine in time. Stay as little or as long as you like.
We'll be. Sure, we'll be back soon. And to Mr. Zoshir, I would put forward a counterpoint that I will marry for love. I will marry for love of my house.
She squeezes your hand, Daphne, and gets up and leaves you for the moment to, indulge. And she passes through the other curtain on the other side of the door, and she's perfectly composed. When she gets to the other side, though, she leans up against the wall and just kind of does one of those and puts her hand over her mouth. He knows. Okay. So, depending on how long you want to stay at the siege, you can return, of course, back to the palace. There are plans within plans taking place, and Mohiam is due to arrive soon. Is there anything you do before you leave the siege?
If Massum wants to leave, then we'll probably leave relatively quickly, but Daphne will seek out Kyra just to tell her he's had a lot to adjust to. I'm sure we'll be back soon enough. But
I know.
What is a Mahdi?
It's what the Fremen call their legend, their messiah. It's another part of the Bene Gesserit's Protectiva program. We've seeded these stories into their culture. She's speaking with you privately, saying this. It's another tale that we've told them through the sisterhood. And they believe this to be true.
He has visions. He has the same sort of visions Eloise does.
Yes. Like I said, it runs through both sides of the family, not just through me. You probably have them as well. Have you had any dreams or waking visions since you've arrived on Arrakis, Daphne?
Just one. Massum has had the same one. In the desert, being chased by a wolf. Then there's a sandworm and a man with a mala gun.
A wolf, you say?
I don't know what it means. There are no wolves here. I don't know whose heraldry are wolves.
She's very clearly, internalizing what you're saying, and, it's like a light bulb went off when you said that there was a wolf in the desert, and she's like... She looks at you, she locks eyes with you, and is like, I need you to promise me that you do everything possible to protect that boy.
I would do that with or without a promise, but you have my word on my life.
Please guard one another out there. Just because you're here now doesn't mean that you'll be safe when you return back to that palace of yours. All that security, it means nothing on Arrakis. This
That
place
one
is
Fremen
dangerous.
That one Fremen kidnapped me out of my own palace.
So you already know. Yes, please be cautious. For everyone's sake.
Always.
Be safe. She sees you off, and Massum is a little terse when it comes to saying goodbye to his mother, but eventually, works up the nerve to embrace her. And you're off back to the palace. Norma, what plans, if any, do you concoct, and with whom, when you reach the palace, when it comes to Mohiam arriving with her entourage?
Partly I'm gonna have to talk with Thea, because Thea helped assist in raising Massum, so that she can appropriately, occasionally, distract Mohiam if I need to.
Oh, dearie, I'm so nice that you think I can keep the Emperor's truth-sayer busy for longer than just a few moments, but there's only so many quotes from the Orange Catholic Bible that I can quote her before she tells me to shut my mouth using the voice.
Sometimes a few moments is all a person needs.
While I say that I certainly have quite enough tenacity to resist such an attempt, I don't think I can hold her attention for very long. She is the Emperor's truth-sayer, after all.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to try it yourself, of course. And, but if she wants to test Massum, then by all means, we can monitor and make sure that he is safe. We can have Dr. Sloan standing by with any sort of antidote or what have you, if things were to go awry, if you get my meaning.
Thank you. And if something does go awry, then I think the only thing that might save the boy is one less mother in this house.
Here's a question for you. If Mohiam is indeed setting a trap for Kyra by testing Massum, why would she use the palace to do so? Is she setting the scene, or are you setting the scene for this test?
I was going to presume that she was going to set the scene, since it's her coming to this area, setting up, but I could prep an area.
Where? In Arakim proper, or Carthag, somewhere else?
Siege Tavir.
Yeah, if I could get away with that, you think I'd be bringing her there? Yeah, no. It would be Arakeen proper, but it would be in an area where, let's just say that an open enough area that if someone were to want to do something, wouldn't be really hard, but it looks decent from a cursory view.
Okay.
So a hyper awareness check would be like, yeah, this is decently secure. Okay.
The Sisterhood has various places in Arakeen, former agents and sisters that they can maintain communication with. So something like a, something like I'm trying to think of the right word here. A whorehouse, operated by a former Bene Gessert. That would be a place where a brothel. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Yes, a brothel would be a place that they would be able to have this sort of scene take place behind closed doors, so to speak, in a controlled environment. Yes, you can absolutely do that. And you can use your knowledge of the contacts that were already given to you when you arrived on Arrakis to set that
any of these locations that might have a little bit higher than normal content of Fremen in the service?
The service area,
Like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
They
so
can-
basically
it's
an
a pretty
area
big
where there might,
establishment, we can say.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So a place where if, Kyra were to try and throw extra people in, it wouldn't be as noticed if it was just more Fremen because, it's just more Fremen.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so you make contact with the right people and set it up. Mohiam is going to get there in like a day or so. So Sheer, upon returning to the palace, you take Massum aside.
Yes. Just to talk with him privately for a minute. He was a little concerned with what Mossum said about his visions.
How can I help you, Soshir?
You're so young, and yet it seems as if the weight of Arrakis is on your shoulders.
You've been talking too much to my mother, I think.
No, I heard you say a bit to her. We were at the siege. You mentioned you were... No, there's no need to apologize for that. I had noticed you were concerned about some of your visions coming true, and others not. I find that, and I'm not one prone to visions, the ones that don't come true are ones that you have averted through decision. The visions are only possibilities. You can avert them. You can sometimes play right into them. But what they tend to predict is the character of the person who has seen them.
I guess my only question to that is, what if they all end badly? What then? Is no decision the right decision? Because even when you don't make a decision, you've still made one.
You are very wise for someone so young.
I keep hearing this all the time. Also, one thing you've noticed, no one helped him with his still suit. When you look at it, it's set for deep desert fashion, like the heels and everything like that on the back for the pumps. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's only been on Arrakis for like a week.
Shit.
All sorts of red flags and alarms are going off in your mind right now as you make these observations.
I think that you are destined for greatness.
He has this look of disgust on his face, and I don't want this great. What does that mean? What does any of that mean?
There are stories of someone who is meant to lead the Fremen to true freedom.
Those are just and he kind of stops himself when he realizes who he's talking to.
Superstitions?
Stories. They're just stories.
You can be honest.
I'll be honest. I don't believe in any of those things, and I don't believe I'm in the middle of them. I'm sorry if you do, but I think you're looking for things that don't exist. And he turns and walks away.
Awesome. How did you feel when you first arrived on Arrakis?
Like I've been here before. I don't know.
Consider that. Zoshir will let him go on his way.
Okay, Norma.
Question.
Sorry,
Has anyone looped Daphne on that Helen Mohiam is on her way here and what she plans to do?
I was just getting to that because Norma is like, gonna start making these plans and stuff, but obviously you would need to let the right people know about what's going on before things happen. Yes.
On the ride back is when I'd be telling you. Duchess, I might be leaving for a short while. Someone else will be coming in my place. You might recognize her.
Who?
Mohiam, Reverend Mother.
That's an important name. Why is she coming here?
You might not like hearing this, but she will be here to test Massum.
He's too young.
That's not what the Sisterhood thinks.
Is there any way to avoid it or delay it?
To avoid or delay it might cause harm to Kyra, as well as Massum.
Alright.
That said, Kyra knows, and we will protect him as best as we are able.
You make arrangements to protect him. I'll make arrangements to avenge him.
Hopefully it won't come to that.
Hopefully
But if it does, slides the location of where the test is gonna take place.
Daphne won't say anything else unless she's asked a question. But once they land, she will seek out Pardot Reed. Do you have a knife, Mr. Reed?
What sort of a question is this?
If you have a knife, I would very much like to borrow it.
Pardot... I've never said what Pardot's hands look like, but I'm going to assume that they're kind of stubbier fingers. So he reaches with his stubby fingers, grabs the knife from his sleeve. Thank you. Reaches, grabs it from his sleeve, does a couple twirls with his stubby fingers, and then hands it to Lady Daphne.
Thank you. You've done me the courtesy of not telling me quite a lot of things. I'll return the courtesy and not tell you why I'm asking.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
And if something happens to me, you have been a dutiful and talented mentat. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your service.
Pardot does a little bow.
Pardot, there isn't one alarm going off in your mind right now. It is all of the alarms are going off.
All of the alarms. I do not question my Duchess.
I imagine it will be easy to put together when Daphne's like, hey, we're hosting an Imperial Bene Gessert. Let's roll out all the red carpets for her.
She will be staying at the palace in the guest quarters. That much is part of the known itinerary. Her and her entourage. Okay. Are you employing anybody else within House Cheshire to deal with this test that is to take place with Massum, or no?
Other than Daphne is arranging it, so she's the one who travels with Massum, and essentially gets to be the Lady Jessica waiting outside the room.
Sure.
Ready to shank a bitch if it doesn't work out.
Oh, it'll work out fine. You'll see. So, the day comes. There's a big red carpet rolled out for Mohiam. because she's here on the Emperor's business, right? And on the Sisterhood, of course. She comes in, she's guarded by about 3 or 4 other Bene Gesserts, adepts, all in the black veils and everything. She meets with Norma first at the Thopter landing, just outside the Thopter pad outside the palace. Immediately, she doesn't, address you or anything like. She just starts talking to you as she's walking. Report.
I've heard an area outside in the city of Arakim proper, one of our normal holds to conduct the test.
We're not conducting the test here, at the palace.
I presumed you would want an area of neutral ground.
She stops and turns to look at you. You can feel her observing you. What do you know, Sister Norma?
I know that he is to be tested just like another sometime soon.
The other prospect, she says. Now,
Yes.
who else knows about this test besides you and I?
I informed the Lady Daphne that you would be coming and I would be leaving.
That is
Whether
all
or
I needed
not-
to know. You will take these 4, and she points to her entourage, and you will take them with you to Caladan, effective immediately, to conduct your business there on behalf of Mother Superior. Do you have any questions?
I look at the 4. Are any of them ones that I know under memories of being against the Sisterhood, or are they all just diehards?
Diehards for Mother Superior.
Okay.
And these aren't your typical adepts either. You can tell by the way they move. They'll snap your fucking neck in a heartbeat.
Got it.
Go then. I can handle myself. And
As
she
you
motions
wish,
to the other
Mother.
entourage of Sardaukar that accompany her in a separate ornithopter. Come with me, please. Just two Sardaukar,
Sardaukar.
Sorry, there's 3. There's always 3.
That's a lot of Sardaukar. 3 Sardaukar is a lot of Sardaukar.
Yeah. You sound surprised, like Sardaukar weren't already here on Arrakis. Oops. They walk into the palace. They're shown their way around and everything into their rooms. Where's the child? She asks. I'm assuming, did you leave already, Norma, or are you still sticking around with her?
Depends on how much she actually was motioning me as the hurry the hell up and get gone, or in that I'm no longer needing your face to be talking to me. Get gone.
No, you figure once she sees Massum and confirms that he's there, that's enough that you can be dismissed.
Then I'll leave at that moment, because currently I think anything else is sus as hell in her mind. And if she's going to live, then yeah.
Okay, fair enough. She walks up and, I'm guessing you receive her in the main hall, Daphne, with your entourage?
Mm-hmm.
Your Grace. We meet again.
It's
Massum, she says. Looks down at him. He kind of pushes his chest out a little bit, and he seems a little confused as to what's supposed to happen here. No one's really told him anything. Do you know why I'm here, child? I'm here to observe you. Now then, where shall we conduct this observation?
I believe Sister Norma prepared a place.
Of course she did. Very good. And she kind of motions for the Sardaukar to follow. Are we traveling by Thopter then? I just finished flying in from the spaceport. Or shall we be traveling there by other means?
Ornithopter or ground car as suits your comfort, Reverend Mother.
Very good. Let us be off then, and not tarry any farther. She is escorted to the ground car, which is of course armored. They get in, they start, doing the security thing. Somebody goes ahead. Somebody brings up the rear, and somebody sits with her in the vehicle. Whoever is going, and following as part of this train of ground cars that is moving throughout the city and arriving at this brothel. It's a very well-known establishment.
Daphne's definitely going. And at some point, like whenever she gets a moment with Massum, she'll hold his hand and say, I know that you have some complicated feelings about your mother right now, but she taught you very, very well. And whatever happens with this Reverend Mother, use what she taught you. Use everything she taught you.
I have to listen to this old crone?
I'm not asking you to listen to her, but you're going to have to do what she says. And you're going to survive it. You're going to survive it.
What sort of test is this?
I'm not allowed to tell you anything more. Just, your mother taught you well, and that's what you need to guide you.
Bloody sisterhood. He says he breathes under his mouth.
You're not wrong.
The car's slow to a stop and the doors open. You're led inside the brothel. The Sutter car and the security detail part the Red Sea here. Everybody just moves out of the way. It seems that the lower floors towards the back of the establishment have already been cleared out ahead of time. So there's no one here to see you entering and leaving the brothel. You proceed through, and the woman, the proprietor here, who looks similar to Amira with like the veils and multiple scarves and things, she allows you in, and it's a fairly well furnished room with like a fireplace and things like that, wood, oak. It's very fancy for high clientele. When the doors shutter, you're left outside, of course, Daphne, because this is a private situation. When Mohiam brings the boy in, or he's led inside, when she bathes it, the only people who are in the room with Mohiam are the Saudokar. They open the door. Come in, child. I'm here to observe you. I don't want to do this. Now! She uses the voice. Come here. He immediately stumbles in, resisting, until finally he's right before the Reverend Mother and the Truthsayer of the Emperor. Do you know what this is? She says. She brings over a box with a veil over it. She pulls the veil. I don't know what it's a box. Yes. Do you know what's inside? No. I think so. Amusing. You're going to put your hand in the box. Do it. Now. It's like... It's a trap. The box is a trap. All of this is a... And he stares off into the distance. I've seen your death. I'm so sorry, he says. You're the one who dies. What did you say? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, he says. And he tears. His eyes well up with tears. Don't you dare pity me, boy. Do as I bade you and put your hand inside the box. Massum wavers, and his hand is like But I'm not the one who's going to die. Maybe this is where it changes. This is where everything changes. Maybe no one dies. What do you mean, boy? And just then, the doors on the side of the establishment open, and there's like a... and 2 solder cars fall over dead. Mohiam looks over and sees 2 Kyras walk into the room armed with flechette pistols, aimed right at her. You can't win against me, girl. If you think you can protect the boy, you're wrong. We can protect him better than you can. And you see she's like, one of the Kyras steps forward and the face changes. You've made a deal with Tleilaxu. You've made a deal with the devil. And one you won't be able to walk away from. The face dancer responds with a smile. Walk away from the crone. Slowly. You see Mohiam's like, Captain? And both Kyras shake their head. I'm afraid your Sardaukar have been disposed of, Reverend Mother. And soon so will you. You wouldn't dare. The Emperor and the Bene Gessert themselves would swarm you with Sardaukar before you knew what to do. When they would peel the skin off of your bones. Oh, I know. You see, one of the Kyras answers. Oh, but you're so insignificant. It wouldn't be worth killing you here and now. You're already dead, as far as we're concerned. We're just waiting to pick up the body. Come with me, one of them says to Massum, and out they go off the side of the room. Daphne, you hear some commotion taking place inside. How do you reply? How do you proceed?
I think Daphne will wait. Like, her Bene Gessert training is kicking in, and she's like, I just have to wait and let things fall out however they're going to fall out. She is absolutely, like, so she is reciting the litany against fear, but what she is steeling herself to do is if she opens the door and sees a dead Massum, she will kill Mohiam, and she is willing to die to accomplish that.
The Sardaukar captain who's standing nearby says, don't worry, he's going to be safe, and then his face changes.
To Kyra's, or?
Just to, to show you who he works for.
Okay.
There's the sound of a ground car starts up outside, and one of the face dancers jumps in and drives both the other Kyra and Massum through the streets of Arakeen. The other Kyra doesn't change, though, because it is Kyra.
At this point, I will go into the room.
Okay. Mohiam is, like, pissed, and she's, like, gathering her things to get out. And she looks at you with, like, fire in her eyes and doesn't say a word, and just pushes past you and the Sardaukar captain. She looks over at him and goes, ugh, I should have known. Walks away. This whole time, by the way, Norma, you and the other Bene Gesserit adepts are boarding the liner to take to the heighliner so that you can jump to Caladan to be continued next week. But as the last scene, Kyra brings Massum as he just witnessed 2 Sardaukar being murdered in front of him. And she's like, don't worry, we're going to take you through the streets. We're going to lay down low. We're going to lay low inside Arakeen. Everything's going to be fine. And before you know it, we can bring you back to the siege and everything's going to be fine. You're going to be safe. And Massum just breaks down. And he's like, how could you do this? How could you do this to us? You think you're protecting me and everybody you care about? Is that what you think you're doing here? You don't understand, Mother. He's like, I don't want this anymore. And Kyra just kind of recoils. What are you talking about? I don't want your terrible purpose, and I don't want your future. And Kyra just stops, stunned. He leaves the ground car, and he makes his way to the landing pad at the starport. When he reaches the counter, they ask him where he's going. One way or return trip? One way. Where are you going? Kytane. Fast forward and we see on Kytane the doors to the Emperor's private chambers opens. He's sitting on the throne. Massum walks inside in his regalia and the doors close behind him. Hello, Father, he says. And that's where we'll stop.
Damn.
I swear to God, that little shit squeals. Oh.
That's all the time we have for this session. I hope everyone here and those watching at home enjoyed the show. We'll continue our adventures into the Imperium next Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go around the virtual tabletop one more time and reintroduce our wonderful cast, beginning with Leo.
Hello, my name is Leo, and you can find me here on Twitch at Leo of the Black, where I play video games. And today I played Archibald, and his plans may have been thoroughly fucked today.
Devin.
Hello, one and all. I am Devin, and my plans are still going great. So long as I don't die on Caladan. And you can see me next on Monday for some Dragon Age.
Aaron.
Hello, everyone. I am Aaron. Tonight I played Eloise Cheshire, whose plans also got a little fucked up tonight. You can next find me, I think Wednesday at my friend Plink Smallcross channel. We're going to be playing a little TTRPG. What is the name of that little lovely gem? Something about the multiverse of. It's basically you play various characters from fiction in a Christmas movie. So it should
Nice.
be a good time. And then Thursday I'll be on my beloved partner's channel, Drea LaFay, playing Grounded.
Awesome. Key.
Hello, I've been Pardot Reed. I'm also Kisama, and you can find me on Twitter at TrueKisama and somewhere near a Denny's near you.
Very good. Ambrose.
Hi. I've been Zoshir Tamir, who tried his best but may have made things worse. I don't know. We'll find out. You can find me playing again 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday evening, Dragon Age, where it's not a blight. It's totally not a blight. There is no war in Bossing Say. You can find me all over the internet as Am Changeling and on Etsy at Thornkind.
Excellent. And last but not least, of course, Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel. You can find me Stolen Fires pretty much everywhere on the internet, including here, where on Monday I will be I will be running Dragon Age, Victory, Vigilance, and Sacrifice, a Dragon Age story of the Fourth Blight. It is a blight. It is in fact a blight. The Archdemon has been spotted. And then on my own channel, on Wednesdays, I stream the Dragon Age video game. I just started Dragon Age 2. It's a lot of fun. And then we are on break for Curse of Strahd, but after the holidays, come check back. That should be a lot of fun as well. And you can follow me and this channel on the Burning Bird app, MySpace, Hive. I don't know. If there's a social media, I'm camping it.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, thank you all for being awesome. I've been Eric at Modern Recluse Online. You can find me back here Friday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this. Big thanks as always to our viewers and fans for tuning in. And as always, remember, never sit with your back to the door. Always remember your shield emitter and be careful with whom you trust. For in the game of houses, nothing is truly as it seems. Good night, everyone.